Hey, what's up everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the conversation. So today I'm going to be talking about my man, Stephen A. Smith. Now the question is, will Stephen A. Smith regret underestimating Kawhi Leonard? Now that's what I want to get into this video. Now, first of all, let me just quickly say, guys, we just released a new podcast. It's called the DreamersPro podcast. We're going to put the link in the description below. So make sure you guys check that out. And during that podcast, I'm going to be I talk about a bunch of things that you will not find on the conversation on the DreamersPro YouTube channel. So if you guys want to really hear me go in depth into some other topics, make sure you check out the podcast and also let me know what you guys think overall about the presentation, because it's something we're still working on trying to get better. Our goal at DreamersPro is to provide you guys with the best level of content, but also keep you guys engaged as time moves on. We don't want you guys to get really, to expect what's coming. We always want to keep you on your toes and keep you thoroughly entertained, at the same time learning something and feeling like you can be a part of this community. This is why we try to respond to every single comment that you guys put out there, and we really appreciate the feedback and the support. Marco and I are really grateful for that, so thank you guys for that. But anyway, let's get back into the video. So the question is, will Stephen A. Smith regret underestimating Kawhi Leonard? Let me just say this. I think Stephen A. Smith is wildly entertaining. Now, for those of you guys who don't necessarily know what Stephen A. Smith has accomplished, Stephen A. Smith, first of all, is 52 years old. He's an American TV personality. He's a radio host. He's a journalist. And in some cases, he's even an actor. Now, it's safe to say that Stephen A. Smith is the face of ESPN because he's the face of the most popular show on ESPN called ESPN First Take. Although it used to be called Cold Pizza, in which he started with, or rather Skip Bayless brought Stephen A. Smith. He recruited him. I think Skip Bayless and ESPN had a fallout. Skip Bayless ended up going over to Fox Sports doing his own thing with Shannon Sharpe, in which he's very successful, which left a void that Max Kellerman ended up filling in. But really, Stephen A. Smith is he's a star of the show. And I think he's a star of that network. He's the one that they always send to big fights. He's the one that's always in the, when it's the NBA finals, he's the main guy talking to people. He's connected with pretty much a majority of the NBA, executives and players and all of this stuff. So he plays a very pivotal role at ESPN, and his voice cannot be ignored throughout the world of sports, especially when it comes to basketball, because that's where he made his bread and butter, working as a beat writer in Philadelphia, where he really got his big shot following. Allen Iverson, with whom he always, pays a lot of homage to, and says that he owes a lot of the success in his career to Allen Iverson, who was able to allow him to interview him and get close to him. But he does have a lot of close relationships with players like Shaq and so many others. So Stephen A. Smith is definitely a juggernaut in the world of sports as far as when it comes to commentators and personalities. And I can't understate that. I'm not saying that I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm not trying to discredit him in any way, shape, or form. I'm just giving you my opinion based on some of the things that he said about my man, Kawhi Leonard. So the history basically between Stephen A. Smith and Kawhi Leonard is this. He always gives Kawhi his props, but not his complete props. I've never heard Stephen A. Smith at any point, at any time, ever say that Kawhi Leonard is a top 2 NBA player in basketball. He's picked other people. He's picked Giannis. He's picked LeBron. I think he even believes Anthony Davis to a certain extent is better than Kawhi Leonard. And he said that just this past summer in a video that we did before, which you guys can check out in the link below that we're most likely going to put in the bottom of this video. So he's never really been big on Kawhi Leonard. I don't necessarily know why. Maybe it's because he likes more flashy players like KD, or he likes more flamboyant personalities, more outspoken people like LeBron, who are most likely going to give him more content, maybe allow him to interview him, whatever the case may be. He doesn't seem to be too much of a Kawhi Leonard fan. The other thing, which I believe is, I don't really think Stephen A. believes that Kawhi Leonard is that dude. I mean, I think he knows, looking at Kawhi, like, okay, this dude can ball, this dude is doing his thing. But I don't really think he thinks that Kawhi Leonard is really what everybody's saying he is. Now, for those of you guys who are not aware, Kawhi Leonard, I mean, he's a 2-time NBA champion and a 2-time Finals MVP and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. But Kawhi Leonard really broke out last season with the Toronto Raptors because of how things ended in San Antonio, with him going over to the Raptors pretty much exiled to another country, so to speak, although he was the biggest sports star in Canada and he was welcomed with open arms. Nevertheless, he went to go play with the Toronto Raptors team that had never been to the finals. And I think a lot of people at that time said that Kawhi's ultimate goal was to end up in LA because that's where he's from. He's from California, so he wanted to go home, most likely for personal reasons, for his family and so many other things. And a lot of people feel comfortable at home. And the other thing is LA is beautiful. I've been there once, so I can't be mad at him. I mean, I don't know how you guys, people maybe from LA dealing with those taxes out there, but I mean, when you're a multimillionaire like Kawhi Leonard, maybe, sticks and stones, whatever. So he wanted to go play in LA. Now, during his championship run with the Toronto Raptors in a one-off, basically went there for 1 year, won the championship that year, had one of the greatest playoff runs, took his productivity to an entire different level, beat the Philadelphia 76ers, whom Stephen A. Smith was very high on, beat the Milwaukee Bucks, who Stephen A. Smith said after the first 2 games in which the Raptors went down 0-2 to the Bucks, Stephen A. Smith went on TV and said, it's over for the Toronto Raptors. I'm sure most of you guys watching this video remember that. I certainly do, because I followed the playoffs closely. And I actually made a prediction last year in one of the videos we did when I said I predicted, this was during the Orlando series, when I said I predict that Kawhi Leonard the Toronto Raptors were gonna win the NBA championship and he was gonna be the finals MVP. I made that prediction about a year ago. Now, after that series, after the first 2 games, Kawhi Leonard turned it around and the Raptors came back and basically beat them 4 straight, which made him have to just sort of eat his words. But then they went into the NBA Finals, and I think he still picked the Golden State Warriors to win that, if I'm not too sure. And the Golden State Warriors ended up losing, and of course, he gave Kawhi Leonard his props with an asterisk saying that, well, he beat the Golden State Warriors, but it was without Kevin Durant. And then he said he believes that if Klay Thompson was healthy, they would have lost that finals. But Kawhi Leonard played in games where he beat the Warriors and Klay Thompson was on the floor. So I really don't understand what point he was trying to make with that. Now, and I think the part that irks a lot of people is that he's so quick to give props to other players that haven't done anything. For example, Anthony Davis, James Harden, who haven't accomplished a single thing in the playoffs worth noting, and then not give that same type of props to Kawhi Leonard, which makes me believe one of 2 things. Either Stephen A. Smith doesn't like Kawhi Leonard's personality, probably thinks he's too boring, probably he's not a great interview, or probably Kawhi Leonard is not somebody that will probably give Stephen A. Smith an interview or ever speak to him, because for God's sakes, the dude is not even on social media. Or he simply thinks Kawhi Leonard is not that dude, which is probably an emotional decision, because there's no way you could see what the guy did last season in the NBA playoffs and then come back this year and start talking about Anthony Davis or James Harden is better than Kawhi Leonard. I haven't seen it. You guys haven't seen it, but it's how Stephen A. Smith feels. Now, he seems to be a little bit conflicted going into these playoffs. Why? Because he's doing a lot of double talk. He's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Just not too long ago, he released his top 5 NBA ranking teams. He had the Lakers at number 1, I believe the Milwaukee Bucks at number 2, and the Clippers at number 3, the Toronto Raptors at number 4, and the Denver Nuggets at number 5. Then Max Kellerman asked him, is this your playoff ranking, like a projection? He goes, no, I would flop it. I would have the Clippers at number 1, Lakers at number 2, and then keep the rest the same. And he's like, why would you have 2 different top 5s? He's like, well, looking at the Clippers have a better team and they have a better roster. So if you're able to ascertain that information with what you have in front of you right now, why in the hell would you then now put the Lakers ahead of the Clippers? Why won't you just be consistent? And I think a lot of that has to do with his emotions. I think Stephen A. Smith really wants to pick the Lakers. I think he'd really be happy to see LeBron James win because it would make him right. And I don't think he would be very pleased to see Kawhi Leonard win the championship. The only person I think on TV that would be really happy is probably Skip Bayless and Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman, to be fair to Max Kellerman, although he says a lot of crazy, outlandish, foolish things, especially about Kobe, but at the same time, he's the one that's giving Kawhi Leonard his props on a consistent basis. And I gotta give Max Kellerman props for doing that. But with Stephen A. Smith, I think Kawhi Leonard is going to end up making him look foolish these playoffs, because I think he is going to outperform the field. Number one, the reason is Kawhi Leonard last season, for all of his low managing, which really has to do with a knee injury, he played every single playoff game. That's number one. Number two, his minutes per game went up considerably. I think he was playing about 38 minutes a game in the playoffs. That's number two. Number three, there are no back-to-back, so he has more time to rest. Number four, he has a legitimate second star, so it's not like he's relying on Kyle Lowry or developing Pascal Siakam or Serge Ibaka, of whom all were very, very stellar, and Fred VanVleet. But now he has a serious squad with ball handlers and playmakers that he can really, really rely on. So Kawhi Leonard is actually in a better position to win this championship. He has a greater chance of winning this championship than the one that he did last year, because last year seemed a bit improbable. But this year, he's coming into an organization that has a culture already in place with a very smart executive team, at the helm by Jerry West and all that. So I think Kawhi Leonard is in a good position to succeed this year. And I think he's going to end up making Stephen A. Smith look foolish if he doesn't begin to augment some of his positions that he has on Kawhi Leonard. But that's what I think. But what I want to know from you guys is this. Do you think that Kawhi is going to make Stephen A. Smith look foolish these playoffs? Or do you think that Stephen A. Smith is going to have the last laugh? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And also, if you haven't already subscribed to the Spotify, our podcast, make sure you go check us out and follow us. The link is going to be in the video below. It's called the DreamersPro podcast. Make sure to check that out. As I said before, we're going to have exclusive content where I go into really deep into depth in some topics that I just can't cover on YouTube. So once again, thank you guys for all your support. This is Charles here from DreamersPro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.